are now listening to a Forward Mile Podcast Network production.
All right, welcome to the next edition of the Vegas Squares podcast. We are sitting here in studio with a full house. Last time we recorded, I was by myself. So that was weird.
In the studio?
In the studio, yes. You were on the phone, but I was by myself. So
that is very weird.
Spike has this weird 9-to-5 job thing that I don't know why normal people have, but
yeah,
especially in Vegas.
I actually can't figure this out either because I'm supposed to work actually 8 to 5, but I don't actually show up till about 8:45. And I sometimes leave about 4:15, 4:30 or so.
I wish I could do that at work. I can't do that at work.
Yeah, but better late than never, right?
Yeah, well, I'm salary, so I mean they don't give a shit. As long as the work's getting done, it's not necessarily a big deal.
Well, must be a nice life.
Yeah, well, the flip side of that is the nights that I have to work till midnight, I don't get any overtime.
Yeah, that's fair.
Kind of balances itself out.
Yeah. So, well, we are the Vegas Squares, and we thank you for tuning in. You can catch us on all of our different platforms, Twitter, Vegas Squares. Catch us on our website, vegassquares.com. You can listen to us live on 12-Ounce Sports Radio. I guess they're playing it live, but they're playing our podcast. So is that live? How does that work in the realm?
Partially live.
You can listen to our recorded podcast live.
Live on tape.
Live on tape. There we go. That's the perfect. You can listen to us live on tape every Tuesday night at 8 p.m. Eastern and every Saturday morning at 11 a.m. Eastern on 12OunceSportsRadio.com, or you can follow them on Twitter, 12OZ Sports. Also, we are on the Forward Mile Podcast Network. You can listen to us there on forwardmile.com. Just click the podcast tab and click Vegas Squares and listen to our voices. Love it, like it, share it, donate, whatever you got to do. Subscribe today. What's been going on in your world, Spike? Because you missed the last episode. Have you been watching all the red? Your bracket looks like Taylor Swift. There's a lot of X's on it.
It's a fucking Christmas tree at this point between all the red and green.
I'm going to call your bracket the Taylor Swift bracket.
Yeah, that's actually probably a decent name for it.
I like that. Good analogy on that.
I like that my pick of Umbuk is doing the best so far, and everything else is kind of...
Hold on. You're right.
Yes.
I have to give you credit, yes.
Thank you.
You did pick the University of Maryland, Baltimore County to upset the mighty University of Virginia Cavaliers.
Nobody beats the number 16 seed 132 times in a row.
They do. They actually don't beat them 136 times in a row.
I thought it was 131.
They're 1 and 135.
I thought it was 1 and 131.
No.
Whatever the fuck it is. That shows how much I pay attention to this horse shit. But yes.
But I do have a fun fact for you.
All right.
I did post this on Twitter for your, going forward with Umbuk. No 16 seed has ever lost in the round of 32.
Hey, there we go.
Saying there's a chance.
I'm betting money line.
The mascot, the Vegas Squares mascot, is getting excited here. So
yeah, I probably shouldn't have screamed when she was.
Yeah, when you scream and throw your hands up, the dog tends to go, "What the fuck?" and jumps. So
she's trying to give you a high five.
Yeah, high fives, Umbuk. Even though, sorry, our mascot is a pit bull, and the mascot of the Umbuks is the Retrievers. So not quite the same, but they are dogs, so there is a common ground. Anyways, so if you haven't turned off your radios or if you haven't turned off your webpage yet, we thank you for sticking around. Again, you can follow us on Twitter. Anthony's at TokenTony89. Spike is at SpikeMcAwesome, and I just post from the Vegas Squares Twitter. So,
not Snoopaloop anymore?
No, I can't remember the last time I posted on that Snoopaloop. So, before we dive into some other topics involving football and hockey and maybe a little bit of NASCAR talk, let's jump into the brackets and take a look at how ours are. Like I said, Spike's got a lot of X's, but he's got the one big middle finger to the rest of our brackets.
Yeah, it's going to be the ultimate tiebreaker.
Looks like the producer's in first place. Desiree is currently leading all four of us.
Yeah, with a score of 35.
She had a perfect region. That's hard to do.
Yeah.
Well, not for a woman. Women have the perfect region. Heyo!
Oh my god. The people
They
listening,
make vagina jokes.
the people listening don't understand the glow on his face, and he was so goddamn happy to get that line out. Not only get it out, but not stutter. And
It wasn't scripted either. That was the thing. It wasn't scripted. It was just
Nothing scripted.
I thought
in
about it.
here.
Because like she had a perfect region. And I'm like, we're talking about. Never mind. I don't want to explain the joke. It's already funny. I'll let that marinate. Anyways, point being is the producer's in first. So boys, even though we didn't do any research at all, we're still getting beat by a girl.
Right. Now, I haven't looked at the other brackets that I'm playing against here, but am I the only one with a perfect Final Four?
I have lost a Final Four team.
I have lost a Final Four. Let's check on the
What
producers.
about, we got to check Desiree's.
Desiree has lost a Final Four. She lost to UVA.
She did.
Yes. So you were the only one with still a perfect Final Four intact.
That is correct.
But
So far.
how's your Elite Eight doing?
I have lost 2 from the Elite Eight.
And I've only lost 1 from the Elite Eight, so I'm still okay in that
I
spot.
think I've lost 2 in the Elite 8.
I can tell you though, other than the South region, my bracket looks in pretty good shape. But once you look over in that top left corner of the
I
bracket,
think everybody's South bracket looks like shit.
yeah, I'd be hard pressed to find if you can show me, anyone out there who's listening, if you can tweet us at Vegas Squares and show us a picture of a perfect South region bracket that's yours that you can claim, I will like it.
It was all worth it.
You know what?
Chill just then.
If you reach out to us, if you're listening, I will up the ante. I will send you a gift card of $5.
From where?
From myself.
If you're on the East Coast, I will send you a gift card from Jack in the Box because it does not exist over there.
And if you live
If you live on the West Coast, I'll send you a gift card to what the hell's on the West? What's on the East Coast that doesn't exist out here other than Yingling beer?
I don't know.
I know like New England chains like Papa Gino's.
Yeah, I don't know that one.
Yeah. I don't know any that's pure up and down the eastern seaboard.
Like if you get a Carl's Jr. gift card, can you use it at Hardee's and vice versa?
I don't know.
I wonder about that. Like,
I'm not sure.
Hardee's, you know Hardee's. We're all from the East Coast.
Oh.
Like, I'd never heard of Carl's Jr. until I moved out here. And they're like, it's Hardee's. And I'm like, it's not Hardee's, it's Carl's Jr. And then I realized,
It's the same thing, but it's a different name.
Right.
Yeah.
So, I got to figure out what's an East
And
Coast.
if you live in the South, we'll send you a Tim Hortons gift card.
If you live in America, well, there are some in America.
Yeah.
If you live in the South or the Southwest regions of the country, we'll send you Tim Hortons gift card.
It's actually owned by Wendy's.
And if
Yes.
you live up in the North, we'll send you a Waffle House gift card.
Waffle House is the shit.
God, I only had that once, and it was like 20 years ago. I still think about it.
there was a Waffle House out here.
I want to call you. I want to call you at night, but I dial and then I hang up. Sorry, Waffle House. It's me.
Oh, speak of some chain similar to that, Steak and Shake, the world's largest Steak and Shake now is over at Hooters now, if you haven't heard about that.
The Hooters Casino.
Yes.
Really?
It
So-
just opened up.
There's 2 Steak and Shakes in this whole city.
3.
Where's the third one?
UNLV. Student Union.
Motherfucker.
I only knew of one that was at South Point, so.
I only knew the one at South Point until just now. Now I've tripled my excitement in the matter of 10 seconds.
About Steak and Shake.
Yeah, I mean, Steak and Shake is awesome.
I like Steak and Shake.
All right, so I'm lost. Where are we talking about?
We're 3 fat guys talking about food on a sports
Perfect
podcast.
South bracket. That's where we left off at before
So,
before the shit hit the fan.
I just want to explain my South bracket here. I had Creighton beating Kansas State. I had Arizona beating Buffalo. I had Miami beating Loyola. I had Wright State beating Tennessee. And I had Texas beating Nevada. That's my South bracket.
I had 5 of the 8 wrong as well. UVA, Creighton, Arizona, Miami, and Wright State.
I had 4 right. The ones I got wrong, I took Virginia, of course. I took Arizona, Miami, and Texas.
Yeah, you guys took Virginia like
What
suckers.
a bunch of suckers!
Like suckers!
If you can't see on our radio, he's standing up and giving us the suck it.
Oh, don't take it out! Don't take it out! It's so tiny.
Yeah, you fucking
What's
wish, pal.
tiny?
But I mean, okay, so let's look at it. UVA lost to Elmbuck. Let's talk about the elephant in the room. That's not Spike's wiener. I mean, I can
Aren't
understand.
elephants big?
We have really been talking a lot about genitalia on this podcast tonight, and I don't know what it is.
It's male and female reproductive parts. If you don't know what genitalia is, I mean, we don't have to go deeper into that, do we?
I mean,
Hashtag go deeper.
I didn't realize that Leslie Nielsen was hosting this thing.
Don't call me Shirley. I lost. Oh, we're talking about UVA. Okay, so yes, of course, yes. Props to you. You picked on Buck. I know there was so much, thought and analysis put into that pick. But I mean, who saw them losing by 20?
That was
I can understand like a buzzer
impressive
beater.
part.
That's what March Madness is: buzzer beaters and Cinderella stories and yada yada yada. This,
But they
to get
covered the spread
thoroughly-
the opposite way.
the spread was 20, and UMBC covered as a 20-point dog. They covered a 20-point favorite spread. Like, what in the world? Like, I can see, eventually, I guess, like you said, 1 in 135, we were going to see a 16 seed win at some point. And, you and I were talking about, I can't remember which podcast it was. It was our preview, I think it was our preview, so you were here too. Like, my thought was putting, like, these Oklahomas, these play-in games, these Syracuses, like the teams that really, should they have been in? Maybe, maybe not. Those guys should have been the 15 and 16. That's where I thought an upset would have come.
Yeah.
Not from UMBC. I didn't even know. I thought it was it was University of Maryland, Baltimore. I thought it was University of Maryland, Baltimore campus. It's Baltimore County. I didn't even know Baltimore was a county. I thought it was a city.
Yeah, it's
Well,
both.
yeah.
I mean, it's both. And if you've ever watched The Wire, they go into great detail explaining it.
The
at certain
difference?
Points. Yeah,
Okay, I guess I got to watch The Wire.
you fucking should watch The Wire. It's amazing. Except the 5th season's a little fucking weird, but
That's like
to
Lost.
your
Like
list.
Lost was really
Oh,
great.
yeah.
Like Lost goes like this: awesome, weird,
No,
weird shit.
And then it picked up again, then hit the fan.
I don't think it ever really picked up.
Towards
You
the
could
end.
feel towards the end they were like, "How are we going to write ourselves out of this corner?"
End of season 4, beginning of season 5, it picked up
What do you
a
think
little.
show writers do? Like, show writers, I feel like they prep for like 3 seasons, and then after that they're
That's-
like, "Fuck, I got to make shit up now."
It depends on the amount of episodes for the season and all that, but usually they prep for about almost a season in advance,
Yeah.
maybe 2.
well, the thing with The Wire and what made it really kind of unique is that they got 1 season, and they were told it was only going to be 1 season, so they did that, and that was it. And then they got a 2nd season, and then they did that, and that was it. And then after the 2nd one, they got signed for 3 more. So the 3, 4, and 5 are all kind of one
One
contiguous story.
Okay.
But even the 5th season is just really fucking bizarre.
Is that the last season?
Yeah.
Okay, so fair enough. Maybe we'll have to check out The Wire. Is it on Netflix?
I don't know, but if you've got Amazon Prime, you should have the HBO subscription as well, so you can get it through there.
Do you have Amazon Prime?
Oh, yeah.
Can I have your subscription?
No.
Fuck this guy.
I don't know. Who let him in?
Comes in, he eats my food, he drinks my drinks, he spits on my mic, he farts in studio. What the fuck? I can't get a damn password?
No.
I mean, it's got my home address, my wife's work address, it's got my credit card information in there. No, you're not getting my fucking Amazon password.
Act like I don't already have all that.
He's got more.
All right,
Don't check your trash cans.
so sports, hey?
What sports?
But okay, so let's talk about some of the other games in that South region. You and I talked about Arizona getting beat. Loyola is on the what do you call it? The buzzer beater train here.
Yeah, back-to-back buzzer beaters.
That's pretty impressive. What about Sister Jean? Have you seen this chick? This 98-year-old nun who is traveling with the team and prays with them. Like prays for them and gives statistical analysis. She like does her own research and stuff.
I saw the
I
old
have
broad
not,
in the wheelchair, yeah.
That's Sister Jean, yeah.
All right.
That's good for her, 98 years
That-
young, getting,
That's awesome, though.
it's probably nice to see the country after being locked up in behind the walls. I don't know. I just feel like she's been confined her whole life to a. I feel like Sister Act. Like the chicks. You ever see Sister Act?
Yeah, I've seen.
Like the nuns that weren't Whoopi Goldberg. Like when they opened up the doors,
The
it was like
oldest
they had been.
ones.
Yeah, the oldest shit ones look like. Oh, I haven't been out here in 50 years.
Well, son?
And then they like see all the graffiti and stuff. Like that's what I feel like Sister Jean happened to her. They're like, yeah, Sister Jean, we're going to the March Madness tournament, and I don't know where they played their first couple games, but then the big city, even though she's from Chicago. I don't know. I feel like there's something there. Anyways, well, like I said, you're the only one with a Final Four team left. I lost Houston on a buzzer beater today, which Houston was the better team in that game. In my opinion, they just got unlucky, but you got to hit free throws. coming down the stretch, you brick 2 free throws, you leave the guy, you leave the guy out. So that's all you can ask for when you're Michigan. Always leave yourself out, and the guy shoots. Did you see the last shot? How did that guy get that in? Did you see the form on that shot? His legs were this, like, spread far apart.
No,
he looked like the Air Jordan logo. It looked terrible. So, all right.
I heard it more than I saw it.
All right, well, what do we got for tomorrow? We've got A&M and UNC. Who else is playing tomorrow? Xavier and Florida State.
Michigan, Syracuse.
Syracuse.
Well, it's Michigan State, Syracuse.
Nevada and Cincy. Yeah, Michigan State, that's right. We got West Virginia and Marshall. We got the Battle of West
Clemson,
Virginia.
Auburn.
What do you think about Charles Barkley? Kind of in the post-game show after the games today, he basically came out and said that we need to get more rivalries back in college basketball for people to get interested in the regular season. You believe him? You think that's a good thing to do, or you think that it really doesn't? The regular season just really doesn't matter to a lot of people.
I mean, I don't know. And again,
because he was saying how Auburn and Alabama are forced to play each other. Obviously, being in like the same conference, they're going to play each other. But like Kansas and Wichita State used to be a huge rivalry back in the day. Marshall and West Virginia used to be is definitely a huge rivalry that they don't play anymore. Et cetera. Things like that. When they're only set up in these tournaments based on chance. Basically, what Charles Barkley is saying is when you want to get people more, because the theory is that majority of people do not watch the regular season in college basketball, which is probably true because, well, we don't. So based on a consensus of here, this would be 100% of a small sample size of people who don't watch the regular season of college basketball. Excuse me. So his theory on getting more eyeballs on the TV during the regular season was to force these rivalries to renew themselves.
But how often do people pay attention to these games if they haven't actually gone to these schools? You know what I mean? How often are non-West Virginia grads watching West Virginia games?
Right, I understand.
So even if it's a rivalry game against somebody else, what does it necessarily matter? I mean, you're still going to have the same fan base. Maybe you get a little more interest from those alums, but I don't know. Like, I'm still not going to watch a West Virginia against whoever the fuck game, whether or not it's a rivalry game. I don't care.
Well, right, I know you specifically, but I'm saying I think that these individual rivalries are even losing their fans, just the centralized fans. I think that's what he's saying. Like, even like the West Virginia grads not paying attention to the regular season, but maybe if they played Marshall because of the rivalry, this guy might tune in or come to the game or come spend his dollars there. Kansas and Wichita State, I mean, what else is there to fucking do in that state, So, like, get that rivalry renewed.
Fuck your sister or something.
Yeah, okay.
Wow. Well, I guess we lost our fans from Kansas. Well, that was a nice run.
Yeah, thank you very much. Rock Chalk, get the fuck out of here.
Fucking Kansas.
If you're listening in Kansas, we apologize for all of Token Tony's remarks.
There's going to be more.
I mean, what else is there? Like, I mean, we have the rivalries in football. Do they translate to basketball? Like, Auburn and Alabama in football is huge. It may be one of the biggest rivalries. I don't know. Florida State. Who knows? But in basketball, I can't imagine it has the same effect because neither team is realistically, like, top of the college class. So who are the top? I mean, Kansas, Duke. Like, Duke and North Carolina still has that.
Yeah,
that's it. I mean,
I would say that's the biggest rivalry in college basketball right now is...
Oh, no doubt.
Yeah, Duke and...
But I mean, like, Michigan State, is that huge in basketball?
I would say it's big, but probably not as big as football.
Right, I don't... the people that are big Michigan fans that I know are Michigan fans because of football. They,
right.
The basketball...
Everybody's going to be big fans because of football. Normally, I mean, it's the biggest sport.
Right, well... It is, but for the people that are basketball fans, they're. It just seems artificial to me. It's outside of that UNC Duke rivalry. It's like Michigan and Michigan State are rival schools because of football, and that feels like it should be applied to everywhere else. And I don't know that that's necessarily the case. UNC Duke, the football doesn't matter, so their rivalry grew from basketball.
Be also like saying Oklahoma and Oklahoma State, or like Texas and Texas A&M or something.
Well, I mean, look at Kansas. Like, okay, so Kansas and Wichita State, neither are a football school.
Yeah.
So back then, their rivalry grew from basketball, and then they stopped playing each other because Kansas has always been a powerhouse, and Wichita State fell off the map for a while.
And they went to the Rising League or whatever.
Yeah, wherever they went to. Now they're in the American, which is still not a Power 5, but I mean, basketball's a little different because there's so many conferences. But see, basketball is easy because you can schedule. You have what? 35 games a year, half of them are in conference. You can still schedule half your schedule from teams out of your conference.
Yeah.
So why not make an attempt at that with a home and home every year? I mean, if it's all about dollars, I got to imagine that sells tickets, sells merchandise, sells, helps build season tickets, especially for Marshall to be able to schedule WVU to come down to Huntington, because Marshall's clearly the smaller school. Mm-hmm. It may not help WVU as much to schedule them, but it helps the rivalry. People would come from Huntington up to Morgantown, which, if you're not familiar with that area, it's like 4 hours away. Huntington's in the south part of the state. Morgantown's in the north part of the state near Pittsburgh. It's
realistically drivable. But
it's drivable that they could come up there and watch a basketball game. Mm-hmm. So I can understand them shutting down the rivalries sometimes in football when it's not competitive for a while, because you only get X amount of games, and with the whole playoff system and strength of schedules, that matters more. So I don't know. To me, it just seems, I think Charles Barkley may have a point that in any attempt to make college basketball a little bit more entertaining and interactive, they may need to bring back some of these rivalries. And like I said, we could sit here and try to think them all out. I don't have all of the exact rivalries that are spurned from specifically basketball, but Duke UNC obviously has got to be the biggest one. But I mean, Boston College was a basketball school for a long time. I mean, they had to have a rivalry. Boston College and Syracuse was a rivalry for a little bit.
I believe so, yeah.
Yeah, back in the Big East days.
Yeah, I mean, all those Big East teams. When the Big East broke, you lost a lot of rivalries. Like, Syracuse left, Louisville left, Boston College left, Georgetown stayed. Then you enter in Creighton, Villanova's still there. And who else was there? UConn was in the Big East. Now that UConn's in the American, they almost seem like they're just in no man's land, just floating around.
Yeah.
Like, UConn was always one of the most... I mean, the Big East was always one of the biggest, most dominant leagues in college basketball. And then when they, for whatever reason, broke it up, I mean, obviously it was money going to the ACC, but it hasn't been the same. I mean, the Big East is still a decent league with, Creighton and Butler and all them coming over, but it's not like it was. I mean, remember all those games like Syracuse and UConn, the 6 overtime game and shit like that? It's not like that anymore. You don't remember that, do you?
Not in the slightest.
Oh, you don't remember that?
That
It
was
like
in the mid-2000s or
something like that,
What
yeah.
I do remember is, 5-10 years ago, whenever it was, when Boise State football was kicking ass, they threatened to leave the Mountain West and go to the Big East when the Big East wanted to expand more west. And then when the Big East collapsed, that obviously fell through.
Yeah.
And the big sticking point was Boise State, on the Smurf turf, wanted the right to wear blue uniforms.
They do wear blue uniforms.
Yeah, well, originally Mountain West was saying no, and the Big East said that they would allow it, which was the big selling point for them to try to leave.
Well, that's the thing. Like, you got to feel bad for Boise because they were so dominant for so long. They're just in a bad. I mean, like, they should have jumped in they should have been in the Pac-12 long before like Colorado and shit.
Oh, absolutely.
And for whatever reason, the NCAA waited and waited and waited, and then now they're not as dominant as they were before because Peterson left. And the NCAA brass is saying, "Here, I told you so." And it's like, well, you can't wait 8 years. I mean, these programs have to capitalize now. I mean, I've been saying the same thing about UCF. They need to go to the Big 12 because I think the Big 12 needs a Florida presence. I'd love for them to go to ACC or the SEC, but there's enough teams in Florida that subscribe to those conferences, so not really worried about that. I think the Big 12
make a change like within like 2 or 3 years.
But you got to strike while the iron's hot.
Yeah.
But the NCAA will sit here because the problem is the Big 12 may be interested in expanding, but then you have to look at all the 12 schools and be like, well, do you want to share your revenue with a 13th school? And that's where the final, yay or nay comes in. If I'm getting $20 million and now you're telling me I got to share, a little bit extra, drop it down to 17. You're like, well, that matters, So, anyways, any likes tomorrow for? I know this won't be airing on 12 ounce until Tuesday, but this will be on our website, so if you can catch it in the morning when I put it up. Any likes tomorrow on Sunday?
Looking at some spreads.
Oh, yeah, I don't know against the spread. I was going to say Cincinnati over Nevada seems like the biggest lock to me, but
I believe that spread is 8, if I'm not mistaken.
It is. That's the one you like, is Cincinnati? 8?
yeah, well, because Cincinnati's still in my Final Four, so I got to root for that to keep it alive.
There's some interesting games on the docket. I have to. I like UNC over Texas A&M. I like the 6.5. I think UNC is one of the most complete teams in this tournament. I think that them and Duke is going to be. They're going to be tough outs in this tournament. Who else has been looking at? What do you think about Marshall? Speaking of, we were talking about Marshall and West Virginia. They're getting 12.5 against West Virginia, a team that I feel like Bob Huggins, based on his comments, is coming out and kind of taking them lightly.
I like Marshall plus the points in that matchup. To me, I think 12.5 is a little too high. I thought it would be closer to 10 in my mind. What's the total on that game?
160.
I like the under in that, too.
Yeah, I don't think they're going to get that high.
I think West Virginia plays enough defense to slow down Marshall.
That's why they call him Press Virginia.
Yeah.
All right, Spike. Umbook getting 10 against Kansas State.
Knew this one was coming.
I mean, it's only 10. That seems...
They're getting some respect.
Yeah. It's about goddamn time.
About goddamn time the Retrievers
they're
get
playing a 9 seed now, so...
Oh, that's fair. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, that seems...
So they get 20 against the 1 seed, 10 against the 9 seed. And
Seems
so they're going to win by 30, right?
That is the way it goes, yeah.
No, they're going to go inverse spread, so it's going to be 10.
Oh, yes,
We're
they're
only
going
a plus 425 money line.
Well, they're not going to get burned. You know Vegas isn't going to get burned again.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah.
Speaking of, did you see the guy, the UMBC alum who made the bet at, where was it, Bellagio?
Yeah, that's what I heard.
Yeah.
800 to win 16 grand.
Fucking hell.
Ship it.
I want to be an alum of a small school that breaks some 135 game curse.
One game I'm interested in on the docket tomorrow is Syracuse and Michigan State.
Yeah, spread's 9.
Spread 9. I'm more interested in the money line on that one. I think Syracuse has a chance.
Well, of course they have a chance. A lot of the money's coming in on the money line for Syracuse.
Is it?
2/3 of the money, according to Vegas Insider here.
Well, is it plus 370?
Let me get the exact money. I'm just looking at the percentage of the money coming in, but I'll look at the actual money line. Let's see what we got here. What do we say, Syracuse? 315 is the open.
Uh-huh.
It's currently on William Hill at 360.
Okay.
So yeah, that's an interesting one. You don't feel confident in Michigan State, huh?
No, I do not this year.
Well, I do. I got them going to the Final Four. So
I have Syracuse winning this game in my bracket.
wow.
360 is what I see on.
I'll tell you what. I'll give you 2-1 odds, and I'll lay a bet with you.
No, I'd rather just put it on William.
All right, fine. I'll give you 4-1 on the money line. I'll give you better odds.
4-1.
4-1 for $10.
$10.
Yeah.
Sure.
All right.
Pay up, bitch.
That'll pay for the food he bought me today.
Oh,
Yeah.
there you go.
Yeah.
All right, we got. Do we see another 1 seed go down? Xavier's playing Florida State.
I don't see them going down in that matchup.
The spread is. What did we say? The spread was 6, 5.5, 6, depending on where you find it.
Yeah, and William Hill right now it's 5.5. Money line on that's plus 210.
I like Florida State in that game.
Do you?
I'm biased, but I don't have them. I don't have them advancing in my
understand.
bracket. I like Florida State. Not money line. I like Florida State with the
With the points?
6 points or 5.5.
No.
I like it better at 6, obviously, but
Well, you're talking about doing a teaser even for tomorrow too.
yes, I do have a 6-point teaser.
How many teams was it again?
It's 7 teams.
7 teams, 6-1 at 6-point teaser.
Yeah, here you go. I'll give it to you. I got UNC Pick'em, Butler getting 9.5 against who the hell are they playing?
Purdue.
Yeah, Purdue. Thank you. With that, if that guy doesn't play, if the center doesn't play, Haas or whatever his name is.
I heard he's out. So
Well, they say he's out, but now there's new reports that are saying
really?
that he can. They're saying the first X-ray said he had a broken elbow. The second X-ray said it was just a sprain. Like those are vastly different injuries.
yeah, that's like a
So
rip of a tendon or a tear in the tendon.
as of right now, he is ruled out. So I don't know if there's a deadline that they have to re-rule him back in. But if he's out, I'm taking Butler with the 9.5. Marshall, I'm going to tease them up to 18.5 or 19, depending on where it opens up tomorrow. I'm taking your own books, your Retrievers. I'm getting 16 points with them.
I like that against K-State.
I like Michigan State to win, but I'm taking Syracuse with 15 points. I agree with you. I think they're going to keep it close, and I think you got a good shot with Syracuse to maybe pull out the upset. I think Clemson's going to win outright, but they're getting 1.5 points, so I'm going to take 7.5 points. And I like I said, I like Florida State to cover and Xavier to win, so I took Xavier down to pick them. So I'm going to put $50 on that to win 300. 7-point teaser tomorrow, or 7-team 6-point teaser tomorrow. So that's my teaser. I guess it's today because it's already like 1 o'clock.
Win 300 to pay out 350. Not bad.
Yeah. See, how do you read your bets like that? Like, okay, so you put 50 down, you win 300, or do you put 50 down to win 350? How do you read that?
I say you put 50 down to win 300 to get your 50 back as well.
So you say bet 50, win 300, return 350.
Yeah,
He says it in the most convoluted way possible.
I do.
Well, like I know a guy who's like, I'm betting 300 to win 350, and we kept having conversations. I'm like, how are you winning 350? You can only win 300, and he's like, well, I've already put the 50 down. It's already gone. I'm like, yeah, but you're not winning that. You're just getting that back.
Yeah.
I've had arguments with this about people like speaking betting terms.
Right, but it's not like if you lose, you're getting it back. Like that money is now belongs to the house. That
Right.
It doesn't belong to
But you're
you.
not winning it.
Sure you are.
I could say you could either say
You're not losing it.
Betting 50 to win 300 or betting 50 to return 350.
I like that.
There's no betting 50 to win 350.
I like that terminology the best.
Yeah, that makes the most sense and is probably the most correct.
Or betting 50 to pay 350. Something.
Okay.
But if somebody said they were betting 50 to win 350, I'm not going to correct them on that.
Well, see, here you go.
Yeah,
Let's look at it. I got
yeah,
my Harris. I got my
400.
Harris ticket right here that we did with our football teams.
Yeah.
Okay, so straight bet $10 on the Cowboys at 1,600. Ticket cost 10, which we'll call that bet.
Yeah.
To win 160, to collect 170. So there you go.
Okay.
There you go. There's the
Terminology.
actual
by the
sportsbook
books.
terms. Yep.
On the ticket.
Risk it for the tick skit. Risk it for biscuit. What's your hashtag?
Risk it for the biscuit. I've used it probably 5 times.
He's got a
in the last-
hashtag now.
I did not know that.
God,
Yeah,
Spike, if you ever get on Twitter once in a while, instead of just being voting for weird mascots.
Look, I get on Twitter to vote for weird mascots and to talk about women's hockey, so that's about where I draw the line.
Yeah, that's about where I draw the line on our friendship, too. Friendship over! All right, what else we got? What do you think is the biggest lock tomorrow? Just a money line lock.
I would say Clemson.
Really? An underdog of 1.5 you think is the biggest money line lock over Auburn? I mean, I like Clemson to win. I'm just saying that's an impressive pick.
I mean, you said underdog though, right?
No, I just said money line lock.
Oh.
It's got to be Umbook, right?
It's not, they're not even the biggest underdog.
Really?
They're not? Oh, no, Marshall is.
Marshall is 6 to 1.
I don't know. I mean, obviously I'm coming from a place of pure ignorance when it comes to college basketball, but I think UNC is probably going to be the biggest, easiest money line lock for tomorrow.
I was going to go with a 2 seed, but not that one. I was going to go with Duke over Rhode Island.
Who played yesterday?
Oh, shit.
Yeah, it's easy to pick that lock.
The game that Duke won by 25
The game that Duke won already won by 25 points.
Good luck betting it, guys.
You know what? If they put a line out for that, I'm going to bet it.
You know what? As soon as I buy my DeLorean, I'm going...
Whatever the juice is, I will pay it. I have inside knowledge on what happens in that game.
I was looking through...
Considering it happened 12 hours ago.
I was looking through the slate during bowl season, and William Hill had a false line listed on their thing. But when you clicked on it to make the wager, it was the correct betting it would have been.
What's your status on that? I've seen this a couple times. I've seen conversations on message boards and Facebook groups and stuff. There, every once in a while, a line will come out that is
Incorrect, or
let's just use William Hill. I'm not putting them on a blast or anything. I'm just using them as an example here.
okay.
You talked about William Hill. They put out a line that is grossly incorrect.
Yeah.
Like I've seen it. Actually, it happens a lot in soccer, from what I've seen.
Yes.
Where they'll put like Manchester United plus 3.5 goals against shit-stained Evert. I don't know, whoever.
Yeah.
Point being is whoever they're playing, they're never going to get. No team's ever going to get plus 3.5 goals.
Yeah.
But it's a clearly erroneous line, and people will pound it and bet it and put their wagers in, and they're successfully. But then I've seen 2 different occasions where a book has honored it or a book has canceled it.
I've heard of books canceling it.
Yeah, what are your thoughts on that? Is that like when you make an error, like you ever watch The Office?
Yes.
Remember when he did the Willy Wonka promotion
Oh,
where
yeah,
he put
yeah.
the golden tickets in, but he
And
put them all
all
in one
one
order,
ballot, yeah.
and they had to give a 50% order to their biggest client.
Yeah.
So do you just like, you just eat that and just like, as the books, should they just eat that and be like, nah, shit, we screwed up and go yell at whoever the guy putting the lines on? Or are you okay with them voiding stuff like that? You've taken so much action. What if Manchester United lost by 4? You'd take the money, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
I would imagine.
Absolutely. Yeah.
What are your thoughts on that?
Is there a window that they would have to cancel the ticket?
Well, I mean, can you cancel it mid-game? You got to cancel
No.
it before the game?
Oh, I would say you have to cancel it
But
before.
that's the thing. It's like, okay, so then if okay, I'm trying to think of another damn soccer team in Manchester City. I don't know. That's the next one I thought.
I was
so
thinking like
Manchester
Arsenal or something,
Manchester
yeah.
City is now a 3.5 goal favorite,
Yeah.
and they win 5-1.
Yeah.
But early in the game they're up 4-0, and all of a sudden William Hill's not pulling that thing. They're like, oh shit, we can win this bet. We can win all this money, and then it becomes 3-2, and then all of a sudden the bet goes away. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
like, can we say? I mean, what can we say?
in my mind, I would probably go to the gaming control board about that.
Yeah.
As a person, and find out. If I saw a misline about that and I placed a bet, I would take a screenshot of the bet, saying it was a
Now, if they
successful
canceled
bet.
it before the game, you'd be okay?
Probably not.
Because they've
but-
done that before. We've seen
Yeah,
that. And
I've
don't-
heard of that happening.
I don't know of any repercussions ever come of that
But
because
if
the
it
game
happened-
didn't start yet.
If it happened post kickoff, post puck drop, or whatever,
Like, what if in the
I
Super Bowl?
would would definitely be in tears about that.
What if, like, the week before the Super Bowl, leading up, like, New England was a +5? Or what did they lose by 8? New England was +5, like, the whole week. They screwed up the line. They had the line reversed the whole week, and everybody's pounding New England. And all of a sudden, they realize Saturday night, they're like, "Oh shit, we've had New England +5 this whole week."
Mm-hmm.
But then they obviously didn't cover that. Like,
Yeah.
what would you? I mean, what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, for me, I actually agree with Token, as much as I hate to admit that. It's
He's the worst.
Yeah, as long if they catch it before the game and the bet gets canceled before the game, I'll get pissed, but whatever, I get over it because mistakes happen.
They refunded your money.
Yeah, money was refunded. I'm not going to, brutalize somebody because they caught a mistake before the game. If it happened during or after the game, if they wanted to try to cancel that, then I'd be furious.
I would go to the gaming control board.
I don't know if we have any. I don't know of any instances that have happened during the game. I'm just saying. I can't watch every bet that's ever happened this way. But
I'm sure it's been pretty close to maybe kickoff or something when they canceled something, but I'm not sure if it's ever happened during a game. If it has ever happened, I'm always.
I think if the game starts, they've got to eat their shit.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, to be fair, I mean, it depends on the event, obviously, but
Super Bowl, they
wouldn't mess that up. I'm just saying,
I mean,
if somehow that happened.
Super Bowl would be fucked. But I mean, let's face it, sports betting, it's nice, but it's kind of niche. Like, it's not the moneymaker for the casino.
No.
It's not the big
Those
thing.
certain
It's there to
events
draw
are,
you
though.
in.
Yeah,
kind of,
certain events.
Like March
definitely,
Madness first weekend, Super Bowl, Kentucky Derby,
Well, like what you're talking
Mayweather
about
fights.
with like a Manchester United game, like just a random regular season
Right.
EPL game. What are they going to get on that in total action on either side?
In Vegas, not much.
Right.
William Hill, specifically overseas, probably
Oh, yeah.
takes a lot
I
in.
mean, they'll get a handful, but it's still not going to be
William Hill overseas?
Oh, overseas, yeah.
I was like, William Hill overseas, a handful. No,
But, I mean,
a handful of non-bettors probably.
But in Vegas, it's you got to think about the PR too, because there are so many other sportsbook choices out there.
right.
That if one book decides to be obstinate, they fucked up, but they're going to be dicks about it, then people are going to take their money elsewhere.
Right.
And they're going to lose more business that way than they would have if they had just.
So the
honored
handle, okay, that's a good angle.
In this case, are they able to cancel bets that they write out in tickets, or is it just on the app or anything like that? Because what if you have the physical ticket?
Yeah, like we're sitting here, I'm looking
Yeah.
at the ticket right now.
Yep.
Right. I think they probably still could. So I'll give you an example. I don't know how actually related it is, but this happened to me 2-3 years ago. Signed up for a poker tournament that had a $1,000 guaranteed prize pool. And they said, we're running the tournament with 4 people, a minimum of 4 people. Like, great, because it was like a $70 entry, whatever it was. They get 5 people total. They start the tournament. Middle of level 2, they said, if we don't get 8 people, we're not going to honor the guarantee.
Was that posted somewhere, or was that in their rules?
Well, that's the thing. I don't know. I looked through the rules. I didn't see it, but I looked through just the rules that are posted, like one of the giant posters. I didn't look on the back of the tournament announcement sheet that they have, like the daily tournaments, where they have specific rules just for tournaments on the
especially when it comes to guarantees and stuff like
that. So I didn't know, so I called gaming because I was furious. I'm like, I wouldn't have sat in a fucking 5-person tournament without the guarantee being there.
Right.
And they basically told me to screw. They're like, yeah, they probably had some kind of provision that said that they could cancel.
And if they have a provision, even if it's not, it should be on a rules that are accessible. Rules that are accessible.
Right.
Usually on the back of tournament flyers.
Well, not necessarily even the rules that are printed on the back of tournament flyers. If you have the right to ask for the full set of tournament rules, that they don't keep publicly displayed. Just like, usually poker rooms have a set of house rules that are your most common or your most come across rules, but there is another binder of house rules and rules that they follow. Because you can't put everything on certain things.
Right, so what I'm saying is, because of that caveat that gaming allows, I'm sure they have some kind of caveat that would allow a sportsbook to cancel a bet, certainly before an event has started.
Or a certain window.
Because I'm wondering, I'm looking at this.
Sure, there's got to be something that says, some kind of extenuating circumstance where if the book really messes up, that they're allowed to cancel a bet.
Within reason.
Maybe it's before the end of whatever the event is, or I don't know what that window would be, but I'm sure that the lawyers have gotten involved and the lobbyists have gotten to gaming and said, we need some kind of protection to
guard us against this kind of thing. Now, again, the sportsbook would have to eat shit publicly in order to cancel something like that.
Yeah.
But I'm sure it's still a possibility. No, the thing is, I look at this and it says, assumes no responsibility for misprinted, miswritten tickets. It also says lost, stolen, mutilated, or forged. But misprinted or miswritten, that kind of leaves the door open for, well, we miswrote the line. Or, I mean, how do you miswrite this ticket? It's a computer slip. You know what I'm saying?
Error by the person entering.
When they say miswritten, they're like, oh, we miswrote the line. Sorry, this $1,000. I think a lot of it, you were talking about, I think a lot of when they have to sit down and they realize when they made the mistake, how much the handle is. If they made a mistake in the Super Bowl, they have to take the bad pub.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Even if you're going to lose,
you're telling me bookies or bookmakers are going to sit there with this. I mean, take out what you know from the Super Bowl. You think that the bookmakers would feel comfortable sitting there with all this money on the Pats +5 coming into that Super Bowl? No fucking way. You know what I'm saying? They would never sit that. They have to sit here and go, bad publicity, look at our handle. Like you said, if it's a Rockies Giants May game, yeah, they'll probably just eat it because the handle is probably irrelevant. But they're not eating a handle of Patriots +5.
Oh yeah.
Going forward, now that we know, that would have been great for them. But the point being is that I think the handle matters. It's got to, right?
I would say so, yeah.
I'm sure it does, absolutely.
So it's got to me, seem like there's a lot more factors in it. Something I've seen, miswritten lines, and I've always kind of wondered about that because I see these Facebook forums and these covers forums all the time talk about, and you see the screenshot real quick. Hey, look, I got this line's too good to be true, and they're like, oh, they canceled it.
Yeah.
Who knows?
Yeah, I wonder if it's like a certain time before the game start or something that they have to do that for auditing purposes and gaming purposes, or if they can do it whenever they please. So,
well, if it's an offshore book, there's no supervision or anything, so you ain't got to worry about that. Did you guys see the guy who laid the $20,000 parlay on Purdue, North Carolina, and Virginia?
Yeah.
No.
You didn't see that?
No.
I saw that.
So the guy they interview the guy. I think he laid it down at MGM or something.
Yeah,
he lays $20,000 to win
$870, I think it was.
$20,000 to win $870 on Purdue, UNC, and Virginia. If I was MGM, that guy's getting a free hotel night to cry out his sorrows.
Just one?
Yeah.
As long as you make sure that the windows are actually like screwed shut,
Yeah,
so you can't open it up
And jump.
fling himself out.
They interviewed him and he said, "Why not? It's free money." Ooh, famous last words.
It was a lock, right?
You know, if he orders room service, plastic utensils. We can't trust him around knives.
Yeah.
No, flameless candles and stuff like that.
Yeah. No bed sheets to tie around the beams upstairs. $20,000 to win 800. Like I understand too, because I could see myself. That's probably
like we were talking.
well,
about,
135 times in a row. That's free money. He's probably right every other time, but it's like, God, that's just punches right in the balls.
That's probably even deeper than that.
But I mean, like every other person, like that's like everybody's like, you can't bet Mayweather because his lines are so big, but he's won every time.
Yeah.
And this is one, but there's always that guy who gets the wrong end of the stick.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Well, that was happening with Ronda Rousey too. When
Yeah,
she
her
was
last
on
couple
there.
fights. Yeah. Her money lines were so jacked. Man, free money. Oh, famous last words. It sends goosebumps down my back. Free money.
Yeah. Talk about sick beats today. I did come out ahead, thank God. But I had a crazy 10-team parlay for max value on Williams, so 720 to 1 odds.
So wait, okay, so you had a 10-team parlay, 720 to 1.
Yep, and another 6-teamer, both only $2, but I mean,
So $200, $2 to win 1,400.
1440 and collect the original too. Yeah.
You know what? At that point, just use it to tip whoever wrote the William Hill sportsbook
His app.
Yeah. So I hit the first 8 legs after the Loyola Chicago game. I took them plus the points, and so it comes down to probably the sickest speed of the day, the Kansas Seton Hall game.
The backdoor 3.
Yes,
Oh, gross.
that hook.
Darren Ravel was tweeting on that, saying that it cost a lot of bettors today. So I didn't realize you were one of them.
Yes, I think Vegas made $1 million off that shot, probably.
That's about right. A lot of people had Kansas with the 4.5.
Yes, I had it 4.5. They did not cover. I had it in round robin and all that.
What was it? 73 to 69 final score, something like that.
Yeah. It was a nauseating 3-point shot at the end.
So that killed your 10-teamer.
Killed the 10-teamer, a 6-teamer.
Did the other leg hit? So you were 9 out of 10.
Oh,
Yeah. The last leg was the Gonzaga game, which became a little sweat towards the end. But altogether, I had $56 in action today. And I still came out ahead with $253.75.
So you hit the other 2-teamer.
No,
the 16
I hit a round robin.
Oh, you hit a round robin.
By 4s, 5s, and hit 4 and 5. So,
Not a lot of people do the round robins. I've fucked with them a little bit, but
but if that game doesn't happen that way, it's at least $2,500.
oh fuck!
So that shot cost me $2,300.
What's more profitable, betting straight up or betting round robins?
I don't even know how the round robins work.
It's
if you have
parlays, but it's more bets.
It's parlays by like if you have 6 teams, right?
Yeah.
Put them in a round robin by 2s. It's 2. Okay, so you have 1 through 6, right? You have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 3, 1, 4, 1, 5, 1, 6, 2, 3, 2, 4, 2, 5, 2. It's like you're betting a bunch of 2-team parlays. If you have them by 3s, etc.
Oh, okay.
So you have your teams. It's not you have your straight bets, and you're betting them in little 2-team parlays. You have to place more bets, but if you don't hit all of your teams, like if you go 5-1 on your bets, you're going to make money.
Yeah.
Versus a parlay, if you go 5-1, you make $0.
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
In my mind, long-term profitability is in straight bets.
Yes, I agree with that. But I'm saying you bet.
Yeah.
When you and I talk. Excuse me. Sorry. When you and I talk. Damn. When you and I talk. Let me try that again. When you and I talk, you have a lot of round robin bets in, and it sounds like you do pretty well. Like for me, I usually find myself, and you can find my picks on Vegas Squares every day.
I post some.
I usually try to find somewhere between 3 to 5 picks. I always try to find an odd number of picks because if you have an even number of picks, based on your lines, you're going to end up paying juice if you break even. So I try to have an odd number of picks to try to get myself at least a small profit or a small, not a small loss,
yeah.
but But round robins, you tend to do pretty well in those because you're a guy who can usually go 4-1 or 6-1
or something.
You're a guy who can usually go pretty consistently, above the field.
Yeah,
I've found. But like I got a guy I work with who loves the parlays. He's a parlay.
I think
he's
I
a
know what
sucker.
you're talking about. Yeah,
he's a sucker for the parlays, and he's good too. Because I look at his tickets and we text back and forth. And he's like the king. He's the king of going like 80%, 8-2. He's like, I got this 10-team parlay. I went 8-2, and I'm like, yeah, and you made $0 fucking.
Yeah. If I know who you're talking about, I talked to him last summer when I was working with you, and
black guy.
Yep. Yeah. I was telling him I was crushing on baseball with like 3-team parlays and all that.
He loves the parlays, but
Yeah.
he's really good at picking games. He just can't get away from the parlays.
Yeah.
It's that glamour of the payday.
Yeah. Of course, I'm not sure if you know this story, Spike. So William Hill comes out with something around Memorial Day. They're like, put $20 into a bet, get $20 back in return. So I did that, lost my original $20, and then so with the $20 bet, I'm like, yeah, let's do a crazy 3-team underdog parlay in baseball. It hits.
Oh shit!
Pays out almost $300.
All right.
And then put another one in.
Again.
Put another one in for another $20. Hit it again. Like this one was like $220 or something. Ran it up to almost $500. I put all that in action one day. I did a crazy 2-team parlay for $200. Both underdogs. First one was easy. The next one, top the first, down 4-0.
Oh.
They come back, take the lead, blow the lead, come back and win to make almost $1,000 off that bet.
God damn.
Long story short, off of $20, I ran it up to what, $2,200 or something
You
like
said
that.
something like that.
Yeah.
$2,000. Yeah.
Fucking hell.
Within a week.
Yeah, that's not bad.
Yeah.
He didn't leave the couch. He had Cheeto dust all over his balls. So I've heard.
Pay for the hookers for the next month.
$1,000. What kind of hookers are you ordering for a month? That's not good. That can't be good
Oh,
hookers.
that cannot be quality.
It cannot be. You got away with hookers for a month for $1,000. I'll take hookers for $1,000, Alex.
Well, it was like $2,000 total.
That's still not great.
It's quantity, not
That's
quality.
usually one high class one you find at the Cosmopolitan. It's about $2,000.
Yeah.
And then she robs you.
Yeah, I was about to say, and not one extra.
All right, let's talk about some football here.
No more hooker talk?
We can circle back to the hooker talk. I'm sure that.
I'm sure football will lead to that.
Yeah, exactly. Did we talk about Jordy Nelson on our last podcast? We didn't talk about him. Did
no,
we?
I don't
It didn't
think we
happen
did.
before then, did it?
I think it might have happened right around that time, but
What do you guys think about Jordy Nelson? Like, does he have anything left in the tank,
I don't know. Maybe.
or did Aaron Rodgers make Jordy Nelson?
I think partially he made Jordy Nelson, but I think Jordy Nelson's better than. I would say he's about average, I would say, in my mind.
I don't know. I mean, I think he's fine. I think he's serviceable. I think he's got a little bit left, but we're not going to see the Jordy Nelson of old, obviously. He's certainly not going to have somebody throwing to him as good as Aaron Rodgers used to, so I don't know.
You mean you don't like Derek Carr?
No.
I don't either.
No. I
God, how quickly the world shits on him.
I place him a step below Stafford.
Oh, wow.
That's bottom half of the league.
Yep.
I tell you what, next time we do a podcast,
Uh-huh.
I want your 32 starting quarterbacks ranked.
Okay.
And I don't know who they are right now, but from last year, take the starting quarterbacks from last year, I want them ranked 1 through 32.
Okay.
Because you say Stafford is
15,
15 or 16, which means that you're saying below Stafford
He's
is
the
bottom half
Mendoza
of the league.
line.
I don't know. Derek Carr's, you know what? That's an interesting one. Because you take 2 years ago, you had to say, how dare you? And you take last year, and you're like, maybe. So, fair enough. I want your 1 through 32
All
from
right.
last year.
I'll work on it. Just like my bio. You'll get it in about,
6 months.
I was going to say 2 months.
Still waiting on Spike's bio.
Are we?
No,
I sent you one, didn't I?
he did, but I like what I wrote better.
Yeah, fine. Leave yours up. I don't give a shit.
Spike's a mystery with his full beard beanie on his face.
Like that. I got that from my buddy's bachelor party when we went snowboarding in Vermont.
Speak of Skype, or
Fuck's sake.
You can thank Aaron for that one.
It's been weeks since we fucking did that on the air.
No,
Fine, go.
do you drive a truck?
You know he doesn't drive a truck.
No, I do not.
I saw a doppelganger over you yesterday.
Oh, God.
Same beard, same color, same hair, same glasses.
Your doppelganger's at the Vegas Knights games every day.
Well, that too, but
Or am I-
VGK Rabbi, yeah.
But
VGK Rabbi,
this
hashtag
one-
VGK Rabbi.
This one had the same size beard as you,
Oh, yeah?
and same color and same hairdo and all that. I'm
God
like,
damn.
I was about to text you or call you. I'm like, it's 10 o'clock. I don't want to bother him from whatever you're gonna.
Unless you called him and the guy in the truck goes, hello.
That'd be funny, and if it wasn't him.
Yeah. What are you doing? Nothing. Watching TV.
Well, I was about to lower the window and be like, Spike.
bark.
See how awkward that would have turned.
Yeah, no, that would have been hysterical.
Especially if his name was Spike.
Yeah.
What if the guy's name
Or
was in the
Jeffrey.
truck? Oh, he just.
Oh, here's my real name
Oh,
out.
he's giving your government name.
God
Shit.
damn.
We can cut that shit out.
Oh, I'm not editing this one. Fuck it.
Yeah, of course he's fucking not.
I'm not editing this one.
If we had more than like 6 listeners, I'd worry about it.
Eventually, one day we might turn it into 10.
All right.
Just happened there.
What did just happen?
I don't want to know.
I don't know. I know a guy that is Pakistani nationality, but born and raised in Britain, so he has English citizenship. Came over here, married an American girl. The day he got his U.S. citizenship, he went out and bought a truck. He bought a nice Colorado, Chevy Colorado pickup truck. He was like, I'm an American now, I need a pickup.
Okay.
That was like just his only logic for doing. He does nothing with like nothing where he would need a pickup. Just decided because he was an American, he needed a pickup truck.
That's, you know what? That's a weird. That's kind of funny that you said that because producer and I were talking the other day. My car's getting ready to, start its steep decline into getting rid of it here real soon. And she's like, "What are you thinking about getting?" And I'm like, I really want a pickup, and I don't really need a pickup, and I don't want a pickup necessarily because once you get a pickup, you're the guy who's like, "Hey, can you help me move?" And I'm like, I don't want to be that guy. But
Buddy of mine learned that the hard way.
But for some reason, I'm like, I kind of want a pickup. Like, I don't know. It's just weird that you mentioned that because we were talking about that.
Get
last
like
week.
a hatchback pickup or something like that.
What the fuck's a hatchback pickup?
I mean, there are hatchbacks and there are pickups.
Yeah, those are two completely different types of cars.
Get like a short bed pickup or something.
That's the way to do it. If you're
Yeah.
if you're dead set on getting a pickup, because my friend that had one, not the guy that got it the day he got his citizenship, but another friend of mine had a Chevy Silverado, full cab, full bed. So it was this
Large truck.
monstrosity
Jeez.
thing. Basically, as big as you can get without requiring the dually tires on the back. And, I mean, he couldn't park it anywhere because it took up too much space.
Mm-hmm.
And
It's too long, but not too wide.
Right, and the apartment complex we were at, like, he couldn't park anywhere near his apartment. He had to go to the other side of the complex. He had to, like, back into all of his spots, and it was always a pain in the ass because it was never lit well enough for him to actually see where he was going.
And back up with it.
Yeah, it's just a nightmare. So if you're going to do it, if you're going the pickup route, then go as short as you can.
And also, one more recommendation: get tinted windows.
So that I don't look like a doppelganger to somebody that might be
Very true.
Spike. I've got my doppelganger going on. Spike's got the big full beard. I got the little mini beard.
You got a little mini me going.
I got a little mini chin strap beard
And
going on.
I've got shit growing on my face.
That's not right.
Yeah.
Is that what that was? I thought it was freckles, but yeah, it's probably shit.
Yeah.
I don't know why he keeps talking. But.
Speaking of shit, the Jets made a trade.
I have seen the Jets on the Jets subreddit. People actually love this trade for one reason. It means that if the Bills want to trade above the Jets to get another quarterback, they're going to have to pay through the fucking nose. And the Jets fans think that in and of itself is enough to warrant this trade that they made.
Well, okay, so let's look at it from face value without the Bills,
Without the Bills.
without the Bills' possibility of moving up. You got to think that the Jets moved up to the number 3 because it guarantees them one of the 3 top quarterbacks, correct?
Yeah,
On top of the fact that Saquon Barkley will be going in that region, too.
that's got to be the only reason.
Because they signed McCown back to another 1-year deal, and they signed your boy Teddy Bridge, which you weren't here, by the way. I will take the victory on that bet.
Oh, fuck yeah.
But we had a push on one, didn't we?
Yes. The
I gave you a push on this one because I felt bad.
McCarron or Bridgewater worth more because one's more guaranteed, the other one is more incentive based, but it comes out to be about the same.
Yeah, because technically, so we said who would sign for a bigger deal, McCarron or Bridgewater? They both signed for average annual value of $5 million because Teddy was 1 for 5, McCarron was 2 for 10, but Bridgewater's incentives could bring him up to like 12 or 15 million.
Yeah.
So I gave you the push on that one.
Yeah.
All right.
So you're welcome for that one.
I'll appreciate the push. What do I owe you for the other one? I forget what we put on
Let's call it 300.
Yeah.
think it was 500.
I'll put it on my tab.
Yeah.
But yeah, this has got to be. So the Colts get 6, 37, 49, and a second round pick next year. I don't think, I've seen the analysis on both sides. Some people saying it's a great trade if they get the right quarterback. Some people are saying it's a terrible trade. They gave up too much. To me, they got 3 spots up for 3 second round picks. To me, doesn't seem like too bad of a deal if they get the guy they want and the guy pans out to be a halfway decent quarterback.
If.
Well, that's the whole draft. The whole draft is if.
No, I understand that, but you don't mortgage the entirety of your future.
3 second round picks is not an entirety of my future, though.
No, but
they didn't have to give up their first round pick next year, which is what I thought you would have to give up.
You build a team through the draft, and in order to build, you need picks. You can't just put all of your eggs into one basket because this guy could turn out to be Ryan
Be that
Leaf.
crazy.
Who's your favorite team? I know the answer. I want you to say it.
It's the team that has traded so many picks to get other picks that by the 2050 draft, they will actually have every pick in the draft.
What's the name of that team?
That would be the New England Patriots.
Okay, and who plays quarterback for them?
That would be Tom Brady.
And does it matter who else plays on the field around Tom Brady? If you get a great quarterback, he makes everyone in that team better.
Right.
And Sam Darnold, which I don't know if he'll be there at 1, he may. But if they like Josh Rosen or Josh Allen, I got to feel like if they like one of those two guys, and let's face it, you and I, let's be honest, we want the Jets to fuck this up, of course. But I'm saying if they don't, if they feel Josh Rosen, everybody says Josh Rosen is the most pro-ready. So if it goes Darnold, Barkley, Jets, they've got their pick of Allen, Rosen, and Mayfield. And if you want to throw in Lamar Jackson, they're fine. But they've essentially got pick of the litter right there. Now the question is really you got to hit.
Yeah.
Right. I mean,
that's the scarier thing. It's not. I don't think the move was bad to move up to 3 spots. You just got to hit.
I think it was a better trade for the Bills because they'll get more quantity than.
I think he means the Colts. I think he means the Colts too.
Yes. Fuck.
Yes, of course. The Colts moved back 3 spots because I gotta feel they still have investment in Andrew Luck at this point. So to move back 3 spots, and Chris Ballard, their GM's already come out and said they're not done potentially moving if they feel that they can get better, and that could be Arizona. They could call Arizona up right now and say, "Hey, you want number 6?" Or maybe draft day, depending on how that goes. If Arizona needs it, because Arizona's got Bradford and Mike Glennon. Yeah, call it what it is.
Or maybe even
they spent $35 million on Bradford and Mike Glennon. How do you fuck that up?
Yeah, that was pretty impressive, actually. I don't know. The way I look at it with the Jets, I don't think that they needed to do this. Now, I understand your point that quarterback makes everything, which obviously is completely 100% true. The problem is...
I didn't say quarterback makes everything, but I'm saying a quarterback who could be great masks a lot of inconsistencies in the rest of the team. Peyton Manning was the number 1 pick, and he was fantastic.
Right, and Ryan Leaf was number 2, and he was dog shit.
That's what I'm saying. You got to pick the right guy.
Right.
Yeah.
But I'm looking at the draft order as it had stood before this trade. It was Browns, Giants, Colts, Browns, Broncos, Jets.
Mm-hmm.
So we know that the Browns are not going to pick 2 quarterbacks with number 1 and number 4.
Correct. But if they go Barkley, number 1,
right?
I gotta think if the Giants feel that they like the quarterbacks, they got to do something.
Right.
They like Barkley.
Right,
And if
right.
Barkley's gone,
No, I
they
get
go
that.
for their franchise
You're missing the
quarterback.
point that I'm trying to
I'm
make
sorry,
completely.
go ahead. My apologies. Go ahead.
So there are 5 good quarterbacks in this
Dickhead.
draft, right?
5
5.
good quarterbacks?
Rosen, Darnold, Allen, Mayfield, and Jackson.
Okay.
There were essentially 5 picks before they got to the Jets, knowing that one of those teams was picking
Barkley.
twice, so they're only going to use one. So essentially, the Jets were guaranteed one of these 5 quarterbacks without having to trade up.
Fair enough.
The Broncos signed
Keenum.
They signed Keenum, so there's no guarantee that they would now take another quarterback in the draft.
Strong lean, probably, though.
I don't know.
2-year deal. You sit your guy for 2 years, whoever you draft. You sit Josh Allen for 2 years. Josh Allen's a Wyoming guy. Wyoming's near Colorado. It's going to be an easy transition for him.
Yeah, I mean it's possible, but you know,
I'm just throwing out all the spots. The first of it, going back to your first point, I'll let you finish your point. Going back to your first point, you said that yes, there's 5 picks ahead of them, knowing one will probably be Barkley and 2 of them are the Browns. But do you really want to sit there and have 4 quarterbacks go, and you're left with Lamar Jackson, the guy you were 5 of 5 on? If you're ranking the 5 quarterbacks, you're like, yes, I want one of these. I want one of the top 3. I'll settle for the other 2, but I don't think I'm going to settle for the other 2 at pick number 6. I can settle for the other 2 in the 3rd round. Mm-hmm. I can't settle for Lamar Jackson at pick number 6.
No, but I mean Lamar Jackson at 6, plus all of your 2nd round picks that you gave up, plus the 2nd rounder next year that you're definitively going to need, is better than trading up to get 3 spots ahead to get somebody that you decent enough chance that you could have gotten them at 6 without having to make the move.
I disagree. I think if they like Darnold, Rosen, and let's just say if they like Darnold and Rosen, they got to move up to 3. If they only like Darnold and Rosen, you have to move up to 3.
Oh, in my mind, yeah.
I mean, if there's only the 2 that they like, then fine. But
as much as the touts and the scouts and the experts are putting all 5 of these guys up into, I mean, like I said, Mayfield's been anywhere from top of the 1st round to middle of the 3rd. Lamar Jackson's been anywhere from middle of the 1st round to 4th or 5th.
Yeah.
These guys aren't lighting the draft boards on fire. These are can't miss prospects like Darnold and Rosen apparently are. Yeah. Now again, like you said, Ryan Leaf, case in point, Exhibit A. But
right. Jamarcus Russell's another one.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing. The draft is the biggest what if. But if they can move up to number 3, Barkley's going 1 or 2.
Absolutely, yeah. Yeah, if the Browns don't pick him up in 1, he's definitely going number 2 to the Giants.
See, now I think that affects the Browns' strategy if they were looking. I still think the Browns, and Token and I talked about this, I still think if I'm the Browns, I take Barkley 1, and I trade this year's 4, next year's 1, and something else to the Giants, and go up to number 2. And I go Barkley, Darnold, and then I just go home. If I'm Dorsey, the new GM of the Browns, I go Barkley 1, Darnold 2, and I light a cigar and go sit on the balcony.
I mean, it's an interesting strategy. I don't know that the Giants would go for it, though. Eli's, about 40 years old at this point. So,
but they're going to go back to 4. They can still get their quarterback at 4.
Maybe.
That's what I'm saying. The Giants aren't going far. They're just going to 4.
Well,
I give you number 4. I give you the number 1 next year, which will probably be high because we're not going to we may or may not be ready to compete. Or if we feel we're ready to compete, I give you my 1 next year, which could be in the 20s.
Right, but going back to your point as to why you didn't like my analysis of the Jets moving up, if the Giants are moving down and they only like 2 quarterbacks and one of those and both of them are going,
this was pre-trade I'm talking about.
Right. Well, yeah, but now it's I don't know. I don't see how. In your mind, if the Jets moving up is a good thing, and the Giants moving back also works, like that doesn't compute. You know what I mean?
Well, these are 2 isolated scenarios. We also talked about this before the Jets made the trade.
Yes.
The Colts were there at 3 when we had this discussion.
Yeah. So that kind of changes.
Maybe you should stop going to work, bro. Stop having a job. You can just sit and podcast with us all day.
Oh yeah, because that would clearly pay the bills.
Yeah, we got a spare bedroom. Your wife can, if your wife leaves you, you can just come sleep in the bedroom.
Smidgen in the bedroom.
You got to pitch in for food and Tony's hookers.
No.
Apparently thinks he can get by with 2K hookers for a month.
Yeah, well, I mean, yeah, if it's
I'm just saying this.
over a month,
the Browns trades there's no guarantee that we don't even know what the last mock drafts I've seen, the Giants were taking an offensive lineman with the second pick. Some guy out of Notre Dame. So who says that the Giants are even ready to go heir apparent at this point? I think they should be. They should start looking. But this is a new regime. So if I'm the new regime, who they just hire? Shermer, right? Pat Shermer? I think that was who they hired for the Giants head coach. Anyway, it's not important.
Yeah.
Fact of the matter is he's a new coach. This is the year I think they should be taking a quarterback.
Shermer.
Because you figure a coach usually has 3 years, right, to develop, or the 3 years before they start getting on the hot seat and fired, etc. Most of the time, unless something goes terribly wrong. You draft your quarterback now, you got a couple years to work him in. Year 2, year 3, then you're starting your new quarterback. This trade does create a wrinkle. I'm saying before this trade happened, the Browns trading up to number 2 from number 4, taking Darnold, taking Barkley. I think that would have been as a GM, I'd have felt good. I'd have been like, light a cigar, go sit on the balcony, come talk to me, and training camp starts.
Yeah, no, I mean it's not.
I don't think
it's not a bad idea. I don't know how the Giants do that and feel good about themselves if they want the heir apparent to Eli.
The thing is, I don't know how everybody wants to compliment these quarterbacks and say that they're so pro ready, but then bash all these teams for you're telling me they're so pro ready and they need to be acquired, but then you're bashing the Jets for moving up 3 picks and you're moving up 3 spots in the draft to get one of these guys, and only really giving up second-round picks. So they take their guy at 3. I mean, I don't hear a lot of this. I haven't heard a lot that this is such a deep draft with talent. Obviously, you find some talent, but they'll still have third-round picks. They'll still have 3rd through 7.
We're overlooking the most glaring part of this trade.
What is that?
It's the Jets. They're going to fuck it up.
Well, that's a whole other story.
They're going to draft an offensive lineman with the
That
third
would
pick.
be great.
That's what they're going to do just to torture their fans.
I think
a little bit
I
more.
think they should move up to the 3rd pick and draft Roberto Aguayo's brother, the kicker from Florida State.
I was about to say it's probably going to be a kicker or punter. So.
We should get those guys from Winning and Boozing back on. Maybe we'll analyze some punters who could go with the 3rd pick in the draft.
Oh, good. That'll be a podcast I can miss.
Oh, man. So
I can't wait for the draft prop bets to come out. Like, will how many quarterbacks in the first round and all that.
yeah, we'll have to take a look at those. We'll have to do a podcast with the prop bets from the draft. When is the draft? It's about a month from now, right?
Yes, I believe it's the end of April.
End of April?
End of April. I don't know that seems late to me, but I don't know for sure.
Let's see. Where's
the crack research staff when you need her?
It's April 26th. He's right.
Yep.
Oh, motherfucker.
Actually, more than a month.
No, a month and a week. So
That's what,
5
twice in
weeks.
one podcast? Who had the over 1.5?
That you were right?
Yeah.
No.
Not many.
It says that the Jets GM has only attended the pro days of Baker Mayfield and Josh Rosen. He is also planning to attend the pro days of Josh Allen and Sam Darnold. He did not attend the pro day of Lamar Jackson. So if he did not attend the pro day of Lamar Jackson, I have a feeling Lamar Jackson is not going number 3.
Yeah.
Nor was he going number 6.
Yeah, probably not.
Now, if you're the Colts and you decide to stay in that pick, what do? You get an offensive lineman at that point? Because that's where I've seen a lot of the O-line and the D-line going right now. That Vita Vea from Washington and that.
I would say the Colts probably take a O-lineman, and that's
They need a lot of work.
They need everything. Their defense is fucking terrible, too.
Yeah.
That's why, for them this year, quantity over quality is probably more often.
Well, they just picked up. They moved back 3 spots and picked up 2 second-round picks that are 12 picks apart. So
yeah,
it's a great trade for Indianapolis, and I think it's
a reasonable trade for the Jets.
If the Jets get Rosen or Darnold, they got to feel good about this trade, and it's got to be worth the 3 first-round picks, in my opinion.
I think it's something that we'll see 3 to 5 years down the road and see how bad they fucked it up or how heroic they came out.
So wait, let me get this straight. So basically, what you're saying is it could go either way.
Something like that.
Is that not basically what he just said? We'll find out in 3 to 5 years it went horribly wrong or it worked out. Oh, come on. All right, that's where we wrap it up here, guys. Let's call it a night. We want to thank our sponsors, ChaiPoker.net. We want to thank the Forward Mile Podcast Network. You can catch them at forwardmile.com. You're an asshole. You can listen to us live on 12 Ounce Sports Radio. Was it live on tape on 12 Ounce Sports Radio?
Live on tape.
12ozsportsradio.com every Tuesday night and Saturday morning. We want to thank everybody for listening to us. Follow us on Twitter. Interact with us. Vote on our polls. We put out a lot of polls. And we will see you next time. Thanks for listening.